Porky's Corner is proud to be sponsored by Spartan Site Solutions. They are specialists in civil engineering and demolition contracts for the construction industry. Interested parties should visit their website or contact Porky's Corner for a referral at porkycorner@mail.com.
Just been downstairs. We've got bread, butter. Hey, Terry. Hey, Terry. They've called him Terry. Terry from Lodge. Hey there, Tell. As I was saying, we've got brown bread in the fridge down there. Look, Pat. Salad.
Yeah.
Fridge full of snap down here, Terry. Brown bread, look, pack and what? Having on a diet. In training, he says. No, good luck to him. Right, Jarrell Miller. From what I've heard, he went into a Dodge dealership, had a disagreement with somebody over a car, choked the guy out and drove off in it. Is that true?
Well, that seems to be the report, right? So, what's the story? The story is, woman goes into the dealership, says, look, I left my, I think it was either house keys or car keys in the truck. Can we go and get it? And so the guy in the dealership's like, all right, man, yeah, come and get your stuff. So as he's walked out, I think Miller's come out the shadows, put him in a chokehold, said, give me the damn keys. And then they've jumped in the car and driven off. Now, they didn't realize that the car had a tracker in it. So the police just found him in a heartbeat.
And what happened? Locked up, obviously.
Been arrested, yeah.
Is still locked up?
Yeah, carjacking without a weapon. Bail was 30 grand. So who's going to, do you reckon Eddie Hearn's going to pay the 30 grand?
No. Well, he should have one. Didn't you get a big paycheck for fighting in Saudi?
That's what I thought. I was like, hold on a minute. Because I think the argument was they'd repossessed his truck. So number one, Jarrell Miller's driving around in a Dodge Ram. Like, they're not very expensive cars. So clearly boxing hasn't been kind to him. But I'm like, mate, if you've got that Saudi money to clear, at the most, like you're going to get paid. You probably got paid on the night. Why don't you just buy your car back?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, ego will get a lot of people killed. I don't know why people do that.
That's what happens, isn't it? Ego. You know what? That's a good thing you said that, because you know my good friend Frank Smith from Bury.
Yeah.
I was talking to him a few weeks ago about something. And I wanted to fill this geezer in. I wanted to really do a fucking proper job on him. And he talked me out of it. Because he said, it was a matter of principle, but he said to me, and Peter Fury always used to say this to me, he said, look, there's many a man doing jail time now, life in prison, or doing that 10 or a 5 or something, for stupidness over principle. And luckily, he actually kept me over there, Frank, and I got it out of my system. Miller will regret that, won't he?
Yeah. I say this all the time. Like, the only time I'm willing to do bird is over my family. If you mess with my family,
like that. Or my dogs.
Yeah, that's it. Like, and the thing is, you know how it is, Russ. If I walk into prison and go, look, they messed with my family, I dealt with them. No one's going to bother me.
Well, you have your charge sheets where you have your page 16, which is listed. So if somebody comes up to yourself, I think you're a wronger. What are you in for? Oh, yeah. Now show me your fuckers. Because I'm a dodgy. Listen, my kid's mum worked in prison service, and she told me 47% of them are grassers, nonces, or rapists, sex offenders. 47%. That's why I don't have it with people in there if I don't know them. So if anybody comes giving it the big and say, yeah, I've got mine here, where are yours? You know what I mean?
But they call that in America, they call that the paperwork check. So when you come in...
Paperwork. Page 16 it's called in England. Page 16.
Yeah, you got to show what you're in for.
Yeah, there you go. Or your cutouts on newspapers. If you ain't got that, people can get... Listen, mate, there's people I know in prison now, I'm not going to say which, I pay a paper bill. Oh, I think I did a video outside. It's at Lindon. My mate's in there. There's people in there throwing phones over, doing all sorts. We'll get on the phone, I'll find out what you're in for. It'll be in paper. And that's it. A lot of that goes on. And quite rightly so. People strutting around thinking at 10 men when really that we should be on a 43s. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
So, but Miller always struck me as a bit of a bully. He didn't really fight anybody. But he's finished now, isn't he? So that's the Miller story. Right, we're going to watch... Go on, sorry.
I don't think he is finished because you know boxing fans love a car crash, right?
Oh,
He'll
no.
come back. They'll find a way. They'll pretty him up. He'll come back. I don't even think he'll do jail time for this. I genuinely think they'll let him back out because he'll just say, "I've got the money for it." So as long as he can make fair restitution, he'll be all right.
Yeah? Good. Right. Here we go. The heavy stuff. Anthony Joshua. Is he going to fight Ergovic next or Ngannou?
So this is a really good question. I think it depends on the outcome of Fury versus Usyk. So if Fury versus Usyk doesn't happen, I think the belts get scattered at that point. I think people just give up and go, right, Usyk, what do you want to do with the belts? And Usyk may say, I want to fight Hrgovic. In that case, I think Joshua fights Ngannou. Or Usyk may vacate the belts and go, do you know what, I'm done. If he does that, I think Joshua fights Hrgovic. I think Joshua will put the belt before money because he wants to say he was a 3-time world champion. Yeah, so I think he'll do that. So they'll fight for a vacant belt, the IBF. If Fury were to beat Usyk, I think Fury just vacates the belts and Joshua fights Hrgovic again. But I don't see him fighting Ngannou unless there's no belt to fight for. So it'll be one of those two things. He either fight for the belt or he'll fight for the payday. My instincts are telling me he's going to go with Ngannou.
Ngannou? I mean, when Ngannou Fury were made, Eddie slaughtered them, didn't he, for weeks? Slaughtered them, Rick Topper and Fury.
He'll walk it back. He will say, we didn't expect Ngannou to be who he was. Look, here's what Hearn will say. He'll go, Ngannou stood up to the best punches Fury could throw, right? That's what people say. And then he'll say, look, that's the same Tyson Fury that you wanted to see fight Anthony Joshua, and Ngannou stood up to him, so why can't Anthony Joshua fight him as well? There'll be all of this stuff where he'll walk back all the nonsense he said, and you'll end up at that point where we'll be like, well, yeah, Fury was an absolute killer that night, and Ngannou stood up to it and dropped him.
Okay, what about this one now? Who's Big Meech's best win in recent times? When was his last big win, Joshua's? I mean, proper win.
Ooh. Ruiz?
2019, Ruiz.
Yeah.
2024.
There you go.
There you go. So all these people who keep going on about Joshua would have knocked Wilder out anyway. Well, why didn't he fight him then? They were in the same arena.
Let's be absolutely clear. Joshua still won't fight Wilder. On God, he won't. And I'll tell you why he won't, Russ.
Why?
You see the motivation those two will have for each other. It won't matter what's happened before. It won't matter whose best win is whose. If those two ever fight each other, it's that deep rooted. The best versions of them will come out. And at that point there, and I've been saying it for a while now, Wilder needs to get rid of Malik Scott. And if you can't get Mark Breland back, I just get Freddie Roachin. But I'd get rid of Malik Scott. I've said it before. Don't ever get someone in your corner or someone in your life who's soft under pressure. And Malik Scott showed it time after time that he was soft under pressure. And Wilder boxed against Parker like he was soft under pressure.
Like who was soft under pressure? Wilder?
Yeah, even in that second Fury fight, you can't tell me Malik Scott added value.
Fury figured it out, didn't he? Fury figured it out in the first fight. He showed the blueprint, didn't he, to dominate Wilder. But when he got caught the second time, when he got back up and fought back because he thought he was running out of time and all that, and he thought he'd lost and all this. And I think he took that into the second fight, Fury, didn't he? Because he's quite shrewd, isn't he, Fury? Now, he showed the blueprint how to beat him. He probably just told Parker, didn't he, really?
Yeah, just set about him. He doesn't throw enough punches. He's always waiting for the perfect moment. Just jump on him. Don't be afraid of getting knocked out.
Waiting and waiting on it. I've got to times, you know, reminded me of.
What, Carl Froch?
Against who?
McGee, Pascal, you choose.
Well, he's beat everybody except Ward, hasn't he? So you're going to like Ward. Froch mesmerising with punches last 4 rounds. Go look at Compy Box.
Who? Mesmerised who?
Ward, he chased him down at end.
Ward was having a cup of tea from like round 8 onwards. Ward was kind of
knackered, mate. Because he were knackered.
As you'd say, Russ, you'd say this. He was on the settee for the last 4 rounds.
He had it in bagged in him at that time, Ward. No, but getting back what we were on about them before them.
So look, I said it about Wilder. When I saw Deontay Wilder fight Parker, Russ, I saw someone who looked lost and confused. And a lot of times when people switch trainers, this happens, right? Because everything Wilder did before Malik Scott was just instinct. And the good thing about it is this, Russ. You end up in positions that don't make sense to train boxers, yeah? You may even just be an inch to the left or to the right, but you're in a position that boxers rarely get to see, so they don't know how to react to that. And when they adjust, that's when Wilder was catching them. What Malik Scott did is take all of that away and try and make him conventional. Once he was conventional, it was meat and drink for Parker. Yeah, just like it was for Fury in that 3rd fight. It was meat and drink because all of a sudden, Wilder's exactly where you expect him to be. But the Wilder that knocked out Ortiz, the Wilder that knocked out Stavern, was impossible to read. You're like, I don't know where he's going to be. And he needs to get back to that. He needs to just be a gunslinger. He's never going to be a boxer. He's never going to have that technique. And I said the same about Joshua.
Against Usyk, Joshua tried the same thing. They're all trying to be boxers, aren't they?
Yeah, don't. Like, your thing, Joshua, is being a savage. Just get stuck in there. That's what makes you who you are. That's what would have made you great. Wilder, you're a gunslinger. So sling the gun.
Yeah.
Don't listen to Malik Scott. Remember how Malik Scott threw himself on the floor against Wilder, begging not to take punishment. But look, mate, the sport's full of these snake oil salesmen. There are loads of them. Yeah, they all talk a good game. Yeah, they toe the line, but when you really look at what they deliver, it's not great.
No.
Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of these trainers floating about the sport who have reputations that make no sense at all. You know my views on Adam Booth, where I'm like, how did he even get to where he is now?
Did he train David A to a world title from debut?
No. Why do you think they were in Miami? David was training with Ishmael Salas. Adam Booth was there just taking notes, going, oh, okay, so you want me to do this, 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 and this when we go back to the UK, Ishmael? Okay, I'll do that.
David A backstabbed him when it comes to the biggest fight of his career against Marmac.
No. Salas was training him from early, before that.
So why every time I see David A on TV, it says David A, then it says Adam Booth, trainer, and whoever.
Well, so remember, you've got
Al-Sabani, Cutman, Al-Sabani.
No. So for that first phase of David Hayes' career, a lot of the training was done by Ishmael Salas. That's why it was easy when David formed Haymaker to bring Salas back on board. It's why when David wanted to fight Bellew the second time, he brought Salas back on board, because Salas already knew what David likes to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's... So, what do you think about it all then?
Or life, or just boxing?
There's just the training situation.
I think people should stick with what built them. Yeah? There's no guarantee that going somewhere else is going to make you better. That trainer that you came up with may have got the best out of you. Yeah? But then if I'm a trainer, and this is where I kind of like Ben Davison, because if you look at Ben Davison, and from what I hear from guys inside the camp, he's always working on himself. He's always adding things to his bow. And I think that's a good thing. I think as a trainer, and Joe G does this a lot as well, you should be absorbing knowledge and information regularly. Yeah? I want to be reading stuff from other sports and going, oh, so that's how they're getting their guys to generate more power. Okay. Let me see if that works in a boxing context. If it doesn't, we park it. If it does, we keep it. But fighters love it when new things come into the gym, new ideas come into the gym. And a lot of trainers are still training fighters in 2024 with the stuff they learned in the 80s. That's what I have an issue with. And I'm not going to disrespect the OGs, like the older guys. The stuff that they teach, 80% of it works now, guaranteed. But there's a lot of stuff that doesn't. Like I see guys still doing those stupid circuits after a hard training session. So I'm like, hold on. You've been sparring 8 rounds today. You've just done 4 in the bag to get to 12. And you're now going to do a circuit. After you've knackered up your shoulders, your forearms, and your wrists, you're going to go and do a circuit. Not only are you going to do a circuit, but you're going to do a circuit that focuses on the muscles that aren't important, like your pec muscles.
They're better off coming and sitting in a sauna, won't they, to try and take weight off?
Well, if you're trying to become a better boxer, you've got to plan your training logically, right? Yeah. So if I'm sparring, I don't want to then, after having a hard sparring session, I don't want to then be doing a hard physical circuit. I'm just setting myself up for injury.
Yeah.
And so a lot of trainers don't understand these notions of how you actually train, and they don't understand a very simple idea. And you're seeing it now in sport, the idea that less is more. You don't have to have 11 sessions in a week to be ready for a fight. In fact, you're probably better off doing about 8 or 9. Yeah, give your fighter more rest. Give your fighter more opportunities to study their own fights and look at how they perform and go, well, what would you have done in this situation? What would you have done in that situation? Improve their decision making. You'll be surprised at how a more intelligent fighter becomes a fitter fighter overnight, because a lot of your stamina is mental, not physical.
Yeah. Okay. The atmosphere in Saudi for these fights, Terry, is it there or is it not?
It's what you'd expect in Saudi Arabia. They're a more reserved culture, so I would expect that. I think longer term, Brits will start going there like they used to go to Vegas. You know, we're all still here talking nonsense about, they don't let us drink. Why do you need to be drunk? Like, we had a good World Cup in 2022, yeah? And what my mates were saying who were out there, they said, look, when we wanted to have a drink in the evening, we knew where we could go to have a drink, and we knew where we couldn't have a drink, and we were okay with that. Yeah. The women who went to the World Cup loved it because you didn't have Brits throwing white plastic chairs at police officers. You weren't being harassed or propositioned out there in Qatar. It was nice, yeah? And I imagine Saudi was probably quite nice. It's not the most lively of places, but give it 10 years, Russ. We're all going to be in Saudi.
Do you remember that Copper Box show where everybody were pissing in cups? Big Top show, you remember it?
Yeah. Well, but so there's been a few like that, right? So I've been to a few Frank Warren shows where it's kicked off. So
the security there, they're made of chocolate, aren't they? No good, are they?
Well, mate. So we're the ones that saw it kick off. So I've seen it kick off twice at Frank Warren shows. When was it Sammy McNess boxed Asinia Byfield? And essentially, I think West Ham had played Reading or something like that. And as soon as Byfield gave the signal, he did the arms across his chest, and it just went off, right? But they'd all prearranged to do that anyway. And then there was the one where Javonte Davis fought, was it Liam Walsh or one of the Walsh brothers? And it kicked off in that crowd as well. I just remember seeing Lerone Richards having to just scarp her, but was it Anthony Yard, one of the two. But it was mental. Like, those Frank Warren shows were, it was the Wild West, mate. It was brilliant.
Dorman, they're useless, but you get what you pay for, don't you? If you pay peanuts, even if you pay peanuts at all, you get monkeys.
Hey, no. I'm going to shout out Roman Security and Alfie Warren. Those guys, they can look after themselves. So shout out to Alfie Warren.
Yeah, but they can't look after the customers, can they?
Hey, you know what I mean? What are you going to do when there's like 4,000 people wanting to kick off, Russ? Not much you can do.
Well, they put them around in sections, don't they? The Doberman, they split them up, don't they? And you take that part, you take that. I understand that because I went to Froch versus Tony Dodson, Tony and Warrior Dodson, and I was sat there like that with my pint. The next minute, loads of chairs come over, and loads of scousers who look like Darren Till running around in Reebok Classics, terrorizing.
Can I just say a big shout out to Tony Dodson's son? Like, I know he had a bit of an incident as well. So prayers out for the Dodson family at this time. Like, the kid was an okay amateur, good kid, nice lad from what I hear. Did deserve to get stabbed. So just shout out to the Dodson family. You know what I mean? Prayers up for those guys.
Yeah. Well, that was a lively night when he fought the Cobra. I thought, God, fight's going to be brilliant. And obviously, when they fought, it went over quickly, wasn't it? He got cut down like cheddar cheese. But decent guy, he won a British title, didn't it? And who knows what Tony Dodson would have gone on to achieve if he didn't, when he was British champion, if he didn't have that bike, because he had a bad bike crash, didn't he, on an Honda, didn't he?
Do you know what I love? The fact that Dodson and David Hay are still good mates.
Well, they never fought. I think they sparred though, didn't they?
But they came up the GB system together.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, that's you're when people talk about random friendships in boxing. I remember just seeing Dodson in the gym. I was like, what?
Yeah, down at Lodge.
No. Down at David's gym, around the back of the Park Plaza.
Oh, that one where it's like corrugated Anderson shelter thing. Is it all under a bridge or something?
Yeah, it was Arch 115, Randall Road.
Yeah, is that in South London?
Yeah, Vauxhall.
Because he's South, innit? He's a South London, isn't he, Kate?
Well, just like your South Yorkshire.
I'm South Yorkshire, yeah. Not only South Yorkshire kid. We're men are men and the women don't know it. Because women are usually head honchos at the family. Big John Fury, big fighting man, and Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King, the big GK. I've heard that they haven't fell out. And it's a load of knackers just to get Usyk head in bits and mind games and all that. So what do you make of it all? Him running, coming out saying Tyson's not training well and this and that. Do you think Tyson would feel embarrassed training with all them people with his dad hammering him like that? Or do you think it's a put-up job? I know what I think after what I've heard today. So you tell me.
I'll say this. Tyson knows when to turn it on, right? He knows when to lock in and train. And he knows he can't lose against Usyk or his legacy. He knows
he can't miss a session for this one from what I've heard today.
Yeah, look, I would expect him to be training his backside off.
I would.
I'd expect him to be fully locked in. There'll be no corners cut, no excuses. John Fury's doing what John should do. John's the greatest hype man we've had in British boxing.
You just point him in a direction, and he's like Taz, isn't he? Like a whirlwind, like in Viz. Taz.
Yeah. He knows what to do. Like, I love that about John Fury. He knows what to do. He knows how to distract everyone while Tyson's doing what he needs to do.
He does, mate. He does. Yeah. Okay. Well, who do you think wins that fight? Are you going with Usyk or Fury? I'm going to go Usyk on points.
I'm going to go Fury. I just think Fury will get to him. Yeah. And those heavy shots, it's rough. Like, you know what? I went back into the archives. I was watching Chris Bird versus Vitali. I'm not saying that those two are of a similar level. I think Chris Bird's a more talented southpaw than Usyk, but that's just my opinion. And I think Fury's probably more talented than Vitali. But when those big men get to you, man, it's just energy sapping. The more shots Fury can land on Usyk, the harder it will be for Usyk. And it's not going to be like Joshua, where Joshua's just trying to hit a target. There's certain things he'll be aiming for. Fury will be trying to get in close. He'll be trying to rip to the body. After what Dubois did, Fury's going to be trying to get to that body early. And I can see him making Usyk feel very old in there. Yeah.
Okay, then. We've got a bit to get through in the next 27 minutes. Josh Warrington, he's doing podcast after podcasts. His old man's done a few. It's very unlike them. Do you think that's because they're now on the back foot, on the outside looking in, so to speak?
No, I think Josh is still viable. I think Josh as a fighter is still a viable commodity.
At super featherweight, though, because he's not a puncher, is he, at feather? So why?
But we're looking at it. See, we're looking at it from a combat perspective. Let's look at it from a business perspective. He will sell out. Yeah, he will sell out Ellen Road. If you wanted to fight in Ellen Road, he'll sell that out. If you wanted to fight the City Ground, he'll help sell that out. Warrington's still a part of that equation. I think with him, someone's got in his ear and said, you need to play this media game. Fair enough, Josh. If you want to get involved.
Never played that game, has he, Josh has never gone that way, has he?
Yeah, but he needs to jump on Porky's corner, needs to take some hard questions. He needs to deal with the pucker pad, page number 15, 28 questions for you.
Josh Warrington, 28 questions. Somebody keeps sending me that on a screenshot to saying Eddie Hearn for a tweet that said I sent him a 28-page essay. Josh Warrington, you're welcome on here anytime, but I think you've got little tiny pea balls and you ain't got the nuts to come on here, but you're welcome anytime, Josh. Leeds Warrior. Okay. Fighters clicking with trainers. Some trainers click with some trainers. Macklin had a load of trainers. Dave Allen. Joshua's had a load of trainers. Every single time one of these fighters with a certain trainer, they wheel out everybody, don't they? You know, the certain circle of the fighter to say he's clicked with Derek James, it's on, he's the man, perfect fit. Now it's Ben Davidson. He's had one fight with him, it's a perfect fit, blah, blah, blah. Derek James went 2-0 with Joshua. Wasn't that a perfect fit? What if he has a shit performance in his next fight, Joshua? Does that mean Ben Davidson's up the road?
Mate, these things are so complicated. So it's tough when you're a professional trainer because you get paid when your guy fights, essentially, right? And it's a really insecure role to have. So you haven't even got the luxury sometimes of clicking. If Joshua comes knocking at your door, you got to find a way to make it work, right? Because that's your rent paid for the year.
You think he was bothered about feeling uncomfortable about being Tyson's pal? It's my pal. It's my pal. He's a pal of mine. That's fucking Dennis. That's how Dennis talk. Even Max were coming out with stuff like that over day to me on phone. This is a pal of mine. I says, Max, you sound like Big Ron.
Now, mate, Russ. So look, I look back on the times I've trained people, right? And I've got years now where I can go, who do I still talk to? There's just some people you click with as a person, and they probably get the best out of you and you get the best out of them. Like John Pilata and I still talk now, right? And I'd do anything for John. I know John's on the comeback trail, and I mean, if he needs my help, I'm here.
But there are he's supposed to be a massive banger, isn't he?
So there are two kinds of heavyweight punchers, Russ. There are you guys like John Fisher, who are just big lumps with big bones, and when they hit you, it's a heavy shot, right? That's a Tyson Fury type punch. Then you got guys like JP, who it's a function of being fast and explosive, yeah? And so it hits you differently. They're two different kinds of power. So John will catch you and drop you. There's no question about that, because he's a 16 stone 4 lump, but he's quick. Whereas Johnny Fisher can probably put you down just by the weight of his punches. Yeah. So that's probably the difference between the two.
Yeah. Okay.
But mate, no, back to that chemistry thing. It's rare. Like the times where you've seen it are normally when you've trained someone from when they're a kid, right? You saw it with Ward and Virgil Hunter. You've seen it with Mayweather and his old man. You see it with guys like Danny Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, right? Those guys who came up with their dads, they have that relationship. Other people, it's just functional. Like another good relationship I'd put down there is Shane McGuigan and Chris Billum-Smith. Actually, seeing Shane and George Groves together, they seem to get on because they're quite similar people, right? They similar sense of humor, similar characters. So I've seen it work there. But there are other scenarios where it doesn't seem like a natural fit. So Chisora and Don Charles never seemed like a natural fit.
Adam Bove and Groves didn't seem natural to me. I always felt that Groves was piggybacking in there because David A were riding out. That's how I looked at it. They never seemed close, did the Groves and him?
Nah, you're not wrong, mate. You're not wrong. But look at Don and Daniel Dubois. Different relationship, different energy. Why? Because Daniel's a guy that needs someone to put their arm around and go, listen, yeah, you're a good kid. You're a tough kid. You can.
Charles might get the best out of him because he's an old and wise man, isn't he?
Yeah, I think good trainers have lived a bit. You have to have lived a bit. You have to have made some mistakes.
Don Charles has been put through Minster, and let's have it. I'll give him a bit of stick on here, Don Charles, but he has been put through Minster. Hey, listen, anybody that can get sacked off Derek Chisora 6 times will still be his pal and want to train him again. Obviously, he's a very patient person, isn't he?
Yeah, mate, he's got a heart of gold. Don's one of the nicest people.
Could you imagine different scenarios he's been in with Chisora? Poor Don. Let's pray for Don.
Well, okay, no, but people forget. Think about Don Charles, right? Don's 62 years old now. He's 61, right?
Yeah.
He's still wearing the body belt for kids like Daniel Dubois. How tough do you have to be to put your body through that?
David Hayes stuck a right shot on him. He didn't budge him, did he?
Nah, not a guy I'd want to mess with.
You won't like Don Charles coming to your house at night to have a bit of intense beef with you, would you?
No, not at all.
Joshua, this Walling win. We spoke earlier about his best win with 2019 recently. The last time he beat somebody. Well, that were getting his belts back off Ruiz that Joshua got by default anyway. But I want to say this, right? You know, when people come out with, he's world level, look. I had a bit of a beef a couple of days ago. A guy who, Paul Smith fan. I ain't got a problem with that. If you want to be a Paul Smith fan, good luck to you. But don't tell me Paul Smith is world level. How is he world level? He's stepped up 6. He's fought Groves, DeGale, right? They both knocked him out. Zuga, unheard of for world title, beat him and dropped him. Ward beat him, stopped him. And the other one, Groves, stopped him. So he's fought 6 guys as high as he can get, and he's gone 0-6, right? His best win is Tony Warrior Dodson in a life and death. Right, life and death. So just because he fought all those guys, it don't mean he's in world level. So can I look at it like this? Anthony Joshua, right? If you want to put it in that perspective, is now not world level. The world level guys are Usyk, aren't they? Usyk and Fury. They're the world level. If you've not got a world title belt, in my opinion, you're not world level. Just because some promoters give somebody a drink to lobby and put you in rankings, it don't mean you're world level. Do you agree, Terry? Can we just go back to there being 6 levels? Area, English, Commonwealth, British, European and world. Can we do that, please?
So for me,
people are saying the world level because they've got a rank. Does that mean Liam Cameron were world level because you were ranked IBF number 12? Because Dennis had a word with Tucker at IBF. So does that mean that Liam's world level? No, it don't. Paul Smith were in rankings because his promoter already earned. He got opportunities because he was Matchroom. It don't mean he's world level. He were having life and death with Jamie Ambler. Come on. Go on, Terry. I'll let you fly on this.
How do you define world level? That's a good question. For me, world level is you've held a belt.
Yeah. But what if you lost that belt and 2 years later, if you lose that belt and 4 years later, you're still saying you're world level, but you've not beaten a world champion for a belt. Joshua ain't world level at the moment. He's in the mix, yeah, but he ain't world level. If he does Ergovic, he gets the world title back. He's at world level, isn't he? Because Ergovic's a top-ranked guy, isn't he? But beating Walling, somebody you beat twice in amateurs and sparred 280 rounds with, and you dropped several times, don't make out that's a squeaky bum fight. You know what you were going into. Fury didn't have that luxury when he fought him, did he? I don't know. World level, European level, whatever. Joshua's not world level, in my opinion. And these diehards, oh my God, they go to death. Keep the comments coming. I don't know, it does me head. If you look at world level in a title fight, if you lose to world level in a title fight, yeah, that's what I finish with. You're Euro level. Do you agree, Terence?
Yeah.
Right.
I think to be world level, you have to have won a world title.
Brilliant. Tony Simpson said he was European level. Tony Simpson, but he got to fight Marvin Hagler, didn't he? But undisputed, it weren't Tony Simpson's fault that he came up against Hagler. He knocked Alan Minter out with that one for a world title. So Tony Simpson, he's European level. He would have won a world title today, though. But if Tony Simpson can say he were Euro level, it's just unfortunate he came up against Hagler. That means other people are. I'm just sick of hearing these people saying I'm world level. A lot of people who are European level, the other side to the coin, should have their opportunities, but they didn't. Like Jamie Moore, I thought he was good enough for a world title. Bomber Graham and that. Some people freeze on the night. If you're going to freeze on the night, Jamie Moore didn't get the chance to fight for him, but if you're going to freeze on the night, like Bomber Graham did a few times, I just think that you're not at that level. You're not the full package. Do you agree?
100%.
And don't get me wrong, Errol Bomber Graham's skills were extraordinary. But if you haven't got that something up here, and you're going to get caught, and he got knocked out a few times. Fair enough, he went the distance. Did he go 15 rounds with body snatcher? Mike McCullum, didn't he? So
He might have done, yeah.
we have to give him credit for that. He got beat by half a point, didn't he, I think? But, for example, Billy Joe Saunders, if there were only Canelo ruling these days at middle or super middle, and Billy came up against Canelo, there'd be no shame in losing against him. But Billy really can say he was world level, can't he? Because he'd had a world title before Canelo and it were unification, wasn't it? But really, Billy were gifted that belt, wasn't he? A lot like a lot of people who go the WBO route. But would Billy Joe have been world level in Tony Simpson's era with Bomber Graham and them, or would he just been European?
Ooh, Billy Joe in the 80s. I think Billy fights for a world title in any era.
Yeah,
he just had he had that set of skills. I think he has a timeless set of skills. Whether he's got that kind of 80s and 70s toughness, I don't know. We'd have to see it tested. But skills-wise, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Different eras. Ben Davison, we spoke about Ben Davison. Sam Jones, last few days, I've been saying Ben Davison's not been doing any videos and that poor kid. Joshua's got him in line. I've seen 3 today sermons of him and 3 off Sam Jones.
Wow.
Sam Jones is always there or thereabouts. He's got an opinion on everything, Terry.
Well, listen, you know, the 971 crew keep him working.
Why don't Sam Jones set up his own YouTube account and let's see how far he goes instead of going on other people's accounts that have got big followers? How far do you think Sam would go with a YouTube account, Terry?
Mate, I think he'd have to do the work, so why would he bother?
Exactly. The trainer should not do more interviews than the boxer, Forky. What do you think? Are the trainers these days more visible than the boxers? Yes or no?
Yes, and they should be as well. And I'll tell you why I think that. They've still got bills to pay. Yeah, you got to pay rent on that gym. You got to feed your family. You know, if you're not seen, how are we going to know? Yeah, well, what's your marketing if we can't see you? I know people say, yes, what he does in the ring, but if your guys only fighting twice a year, do you know what I mean? Like, we're going to forget about you. So I understand why they do it. Like, you know, it's not an easy living to make. So if you got to promote yourself, then fair enough.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think Joshua probably just wants Ben to be another Eddie for him and go out there and put stuff that he wants putting out there? You know, like another Eddie, another Frank Smith.
Nah, Ben's been talking before he had Joshua. Ben's always been talking. Ben,
just a bit.
Yeah, that's just who he is. He's a guy that wants to be out there, you know. But I always say that when you want to be that guy that's out there, just be prepared for what comes back.
I'm not going to get through this in 2. Do you want to do 3, Terry?
What time is it? All right, mate, we'll do one more. We'll be quick, though. I'll be done by 6.
Quick half an hour one, yeah?
All right, mate.
I'll send you a link now. Pop.